We met in 2017, late 2017.
It was a disaster. I was one of those guys that,
Player.
and it just didn't work out.
There were a lot of challenges. We tried our best to guard our heart. I feel like I was just suppressing my feelings towards him. Hi guys, welcome to our channel. I'm Kristy, and this is my husband James. I'm sure you have seen him in some of my videos, when we visited the Philippines and together with my puppy or with our puppy Maestro. So currently we're in a cabin. It's a beautiful cabin owned by one of our church friends. We're still in Ohio. We didn't drive too far to go to this cabin, but we just thought of staying here overnight to kind of spend time with one another and also to enjoy the beautiful scenery surrounding this cabin. So while we're in this cabin, we thought of sharing with you our story, how we met, and hopefully you can get inspiration from our story if you're somebody who's wanting to marry an American or if you're somebody who's wanting to marry a Filipino woman, man, wherever. We met in 2017, late 2017.
It was a disaster. Just kidding.
Yes, it's a beautiful disaster. So we met in late 2017, and just like where most couples or Filipino-American couples met, we also met online. The website is called cmatch.com. Yeah, we met in 2017, and the reason why I joined an online dating was because I was 5 years single already during that time, and I was 28 years old. So I was ready to settle down and move on with my life with somebody that I can share, my life with. And thankfully, I didn't have to join too many online website or too many online dating sites to be able to meet my future husband, because when I joined CMatch, I immediately met my husband, James.
At that time, I had C-Match, but I also had other dating sites. I was one of those guys that,
Player. No, you're not.
I was one of those guys that I was on multiple different things. I was really looking for love. So I had a past of, I actually had an ex-fiance from Germany, and back in 2012, and it just didn't work out. She wasn't the one, and so, between that, from then, going into 2017, I was, obviously looking for somebody else. And it just kind of came to a point where I felt like, I was forcing something to happen when it's not my timing, it's God's timing.
Mhm.
So at this time, I already had met her on C Match. Um, so what I did is I literally, basically, I canceled all my online dating subscriptions. We just started talking more and more, to the point where, we basically we're best online friends. We're video chatting, talking every day. Um, there was times I was up till 3 a.m. You know, talking with her on the phone, and um, at that time I was actually working part time. I was living at home. I had two jobs. I had basically a job as a helper for a plumber. And then I was also working part time as a stage light designer, programmer, stuff like that. Um, and so I had a lot of free time, but I was making decent money. So yeah, so obviously in the past I've been to Germany, but I wanted to go to Asia, and since I my best friend was from the Philippines, I wanted to use that opportunity um, to go. So I asked her one day how she would feel if I would come to the Philippines and, just basically us with some friends travel around, um, just see some of the scenic places in the Philippines.
Yeah, so we were friends for some time. We were really able to get to know each other before we started dating. But along the way, as we uh, started to deepen our friendship, there were a lot of challenges, or maybe the appropriate term to use is struggle. Um, I struggle a lot. I struggled a lot, and I'm pretty sure you did too, right? Because when we were
Hmm.
friends, because we didn't really want to date uh, without seeing each other first, because talking online and being able to meet physically face to face, we feel like those two things are very important before we start to level up our relationship. So we tried our best to guard our hearts, but I feel like there's no such thing as guarding our hearts, because at least, for me personally, I feel like I was just suppressing my feelings towards him just because we haven't met each other yet. And so when he told me that he's gonna come visit the Philippines, I was really excited and scared at the same time, because I didn't know what to expect. When we started talking online as friends, and up to the point where he said that he's going to visit the Philippines, never, never, or even once that I asked him to come visit me in the Philippines, because I was praying to God that if James was the one for me, then he would proactively tell me that he's gonna come and visit me in the Philippines. So I was really excited during that time, and he went to the Philippines the first time in 2019 in January. So we traveled to different places in the Philippines together with my friends.
Before I even left for the Philippines, I remember I had this conversation with my mom, because she was glad that I was guarding my heart, but she had some advice for me. She said, I'm glad you're guarding your heart. You should do that. But she also said, don't guard your heart so much that you might miss something that God wants to do. So, you know, I kept that in the back of my head as I, was at the airport when I arrived. Um, I definitely remember the first moment I saw Kristy. I was looking for her because, I mean, in the Philippines it's super populated, obviously, and then there's, it's hard to pick out somebody from the crowd if you don't know where to look. Um, and so I remember I was looking around. All of a sudden, I see her, like, she yelled my name, and she was running towards me with this big smile. I'll never forget it. And at that moment, like, it's so easy to say, like, you're guarding your heart, but it's like at that moment, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's my best friend. Um, like, am I dreaming? Because especially when you enter, like a third world country, somewhere completely different, and yet there's somebody you talk to for months, and you finally see them in person. It is like you're in a dream. Um, and so I saw her, and it's just unbelievable. And I'm just like, she's my best friend, but she's so beautiful. I'm like, I can't, you can't, those sort of things, you can't really say you're guarding your heart, and yet you're having those type of feelings.
So in 2019, he visited the Philippines 3 times. So you visited in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he visited in 2018 3 times, and then in 2019 of June, he went to the Philippines to pick me up, and he brought me to the States.
So we decided that I think it would be best for me to come to the Philippines to actually pick her up. Actually, just bring me to the States instead of her coming by herself, because, well, one, obviously I don't want her to travel to the States herself. And also we wanted to kind of have a celebration and kind of like a going away party with her family and friends, because knowing that most of her family and friends won't be able to be there for the wedding. But thankfully, her dad was able to apply, and he got accepted. So that was a big blessing, because otherwise she wouldn't have anybody on her side at the wedding. So yeah, so she came. We did a K1, visa, so which means you have to get married within 90 days. And we got married.
You know what? We can talk all day about our relationship. We don't want to bore you with all the details, so we're just gonna stop right here. But if you have any questions about any of what we talked about, feel free to comment, so we can maybe hopefully create a video on that question. So yeah,
on those questions.
on those questions. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to
like and subscribe.